Is the First Descendant worth playing? The First Descendant is a mashup of different games such as The Division, Destiny, and Warframe, introducing bosses, building up your character, and playing as a team to defeat stronger foes. It's one of those games you have to beat first before the game gets good. Some games nail this and some games don't. In this video, I'll be showing off and explaining the process of both early game and end game. The key to a good beginning is a good hook, and if you fail to hook the player, then what's the point of playing? Hopefully you'll be able to find out if this game is meant for you. And with that being said, let's start from the beginning. So once you boot up the game for the first time, they ask you to sign your life away in order to play it. Accepting terms of service and privacy policy is a very understandable and accepted thing. However, the third option should be illegal. But we're going to give our data and all our stuff to other people anyways. So once you finish your little cutscene, we meet the big boss, Solid Snake. Alpha. Yeah, Alpha. After you're finished getting your ear talked off, the game beautifully presents us with the starting characters. It's important that you select which character fits you best, because if you don't, it's not easy to get a new character. I will say that again. It is not easy to get you another character, unless you're rich. Now, once you've selected a character, you head out on a mission with the big bad bunny herself. This mission itself is the tutorial and the kickoff point for the main story. Once they taught you how to play, they introduce you to this powerful artifact called the Iron Heart. Everyone wants these. And of course, they hit us with the cliche powerful object calling out to you card, and things happen.
What the hell?
So once you wake up in Remnant 2, you get another tutorial, but on the more advanced side this time around. I don't know about y'all, but at this point, I was getting Halo vibes. Halo meets Remnant 2 of Destiny's Warframe. And then they sold the deal by introducing us to a familiar face, Cortana. So once you've met the guy, the game starts to kick it up a notch. Suddenly, the Vulgus, army of the antagonists, ambushes us. So the Bad Bunny collects the Iron Heart, and we make our way to an evac point. As we arrive at the evac point, at some point Corel caught up to Bunny. "You touch my bunny, it's on sight," said the actions of my character. But apparently this guy's a Sith Lord, and we both get demolished. So this man, Corel, basically had us followed and then robbed us himself. All to take that power and add it to his strength. What a beast. This antagonist goes freaking crazy. That's a plus in my book. So far the game does a good job at introducing its main plot in both the protagonist and antagonist of the story. Whenever we're dealing with Iron Hearts, giant beings known as Colossi appear as raid bosses throughout the story and in-game. All of this pretty much sets the tone of the game and concludes the game's story intro.
Are you ready to be shot?
This is the main base of operations. You'll be able to do all your upgrades here. There's a lot of similarities in this game, so if you've ever played Destiny, this is just like the tower, or if you've ever played The Division, this is just like the base of operations. Here you'll be able to receive quests.
Thank you for answering my call.
And join a private or public world to start your quests. On your first playthrough, they'll give you a cutscene, and you'll meet the guy that'll give you your first set of quests.
I'm Marcus from the Investigative Corps.
Talk to Marcus so he'll give you the quest and begin doing all the work for him. So once you're thrown in the world for the first time, they'll have you do these small quests using these beacons. One of two things will happen since we're in a public world. When you start a quest, you'll be able to join a quest in progress, or you'll just start one of your own. In this case, I joined one in progress. At any point during one of these world missions, someone can join in and help out. To the best of my knowledge, only 4 people can be in the world session at a time, which is a good thing. World missions don't take any time during the beginning, especially since there's no level cap for the players who join during these missions. Now once you progress further in the game, they'll introduce many different ways to upgrade your weapons and character. and they do it at a pretty good pace. There's tons of upgrades in the game that you can find that you can use to increase your power, and the game does a good job of bringing forth all that power to you instead of doing it all at once. The quests in this game start off as side quests until you do enough to complete the main quest. They'll give you a variety of objectives, and the more you play, the more complex they'll get.
This doesn't feel good.
Once you make your way to the first story mission, you'll notice that these are longer, and they're more rewarding. Each story mission drops a specific set of items you may need for in-game builds. The game will pair you with up to 3 players, making it a 4-player team. These are more action-packed and more difficult missions to complete and can be done on hard later on for even better rewards. Each zone has 2 main story missions, and each zone offers different kinds of items native to that zone. Once you've earned enough XP, you'll be able to receive a mastery upgrade. Mastery upgrades allow for more inventory space and upgrade space, meaning the higher the mastery, the more powerful you are. These stick around for every character. Sweet. What is going on? Looks like he's about to crush me, bro. But then again, it's like it's molding pressure around me, turning me into like a diamond or something, bro. Okay. Mastery levels aren't easy to come by so often, so think of them as like prestiging your character. So once you make your way back to the final zone mission, defeat the main boss, and head back to the main base, you'll be introduced to Seneca. He's the guy that'll tell you when there's a Colossus attack. Colossi are basically 4-man raid bosses of mass destruction, and can really be hard to defeat at times. These are the monsters you're going to want to have a few characters and builds ready for, because they're very difficult, especially later on in the endgame. They drop character blueprints, weapon blueprints, and other precious items. Throughout the game, you'll be introduced to the research facility, which will be the main place you spend those hard-earned materials. Here you can research characters, ultimate weapons, and upgrade materials. Now when you progress through the story a bit, you'll receive your first character, Bunny. We're going to go ahead and craft her. Everything you craft in this game is going to take time, which I'm not a fan of, but it could be worse. When you research a new character, it takes 16 hours to do so. This is the Descendant instructor. He'll be the one to inform you of new and more powerful ways to increase your strength, starting with upgrading the modules you find in the game. Eventually you'll be instructed to find Cillian. He's the guy that'll do all your module related activities. The most important use for him is upgrading your modules and filling up your mod capacity. Doing so requires 2 types of currency, Kuiper and gold. Both can be acquired from looting enemies. Once your research is complete, go back into the character menu and equip your upgrades. All obtained and upgraded modules are universal and used by every character at the same time. The only exceptions are modules that alter your character's abilities. These are just the basics. The more you progress in the story, the more you can find character parts for new characters, items to use and upgrade, and materials for research.
Oh, my beloved daughter, Daya. Hold on a little longer. Your mom will save you no matter what.
There's a bunch of characters to choose from, each with their own unique abilities and roles. From DPS to healer, to crowd control and tanking. Most of everyone you see in the field is a descendant you can use later on. Once you begin getting the hang of things and your mastery levels up, the instructor will eventually let you know of the other ways you can increase your strength to further min-max your build. At this point of the game, you would have received your first ultimate weapon at level 1. The instructor is going to tell you how you can use different types of enhancements to raise the level of your weapon. Once you rank up to mastery level 8, the instructor will give you clearance to use the training facility. Talk to Sienna and she'll talk more about it. This is where you'll be able to test your build without leaving the main base. You can do all the mixing and matching in here all you want. Once you make it towards the end, the Descendant instructor will reward you with one of the final upgrades, which allows you to overcharge your character by increasing your module capacity. And finally, your last upgrade. The instructor will give you your last researchable enhancement, concluding the story, and entering you into the endgame. At this point of the game, I still found the game to be pretty fun and engaging, with some pretty cool cutscenes and a decent story to go with it. The game does seem to do a pretty good job at telling the story it has to tell, though you can see the plot from a mile away. I would say this game is pretty easy to get into, especially with how smooth the gameplay is. I really love how the game starts off too easy and gradually gets difficult mission by mission. The way the developers roll out the different aspects of character development was an excellent choice in my opinion. Instead of dropping it all in your face when you start, they decided to have you play the game and learn more as you play, and get used to the game. I think many games make a mistake at throwing everything at you at once. It's overwhelming and annoying. This stops so many people from even wanting to play the game or understand the game that they're even playing. And if you can't get into a game, then you won't make it to the end game. Speaking of the end game,
Are you ready? Hope you all enjoy it and have fun.
so you made it to the end. Now what? It's important for a game with an end game aspect to have more activities to keep you playing it. Once you've made it to the end, you will unlock hard mode. Hard mode allows you to change the world difficulty, making it so you can complete all the activities on a harder difficulty, earning you better rewards. At this point, you will unlock the last normal boss. This boss is used as a sample for what comes after it. Once you finally defeated the final boss, you unlock the hard mode for the Colossi battles. Your next goal is to defeat all of the harder Colossi, and this time around, they have much harsher mechanics. Your goal at this point is to get as strong as possible and defeat them. When you first get to this point, the Colossi are going to be very powerful, so you're going to have to use what you know to min-max your build. In the early game, the game offers just about everything you can get now, but at a much smaller chance. Take a look at the world on hard mode and choose the gear or descendant you want to unlock. Here's what a min-max in-game build looks like. If your build doesn't look like this and someone else's build on your team does, they're likely to carry you through the mission. This took me about 2 weeks to accomplish, so it'll take a decent amount of time to max out a character, giving you something to do for a while. If you're having trouble finding direction to get yourself some better gear, the game offers plenty of tools to use and make the process easier. The best tool to use is the More Information tab. Start by pausing the game, then go to World Map. After that, move over to the More Info tab. This tab is a complete index of every item you can find in the game. The process of min-maxing can take several days and even weeks to a month to fully get your character to their full potential. In a little over 2 weeks time, I managed to get myself 5 new characters and one of them completely upgraded to the fullest extent. Now, you did all the grinding to get yourself as powerful as possible and you beat all the Colossi. What's next? As of the making of this video, this is all the game has to offer at the moment, which will have you feeling like, what else is there to do? Now, there's still a few things you can do, such as unlocking all characters and farming for even better gear, but how long is that going to last? My overall opinion of this game is pretty high, especially because of the potential this game has, but for the moment, personally, it's not a game I could spend months on end playing it every day. It just doesn't have much. It's nice to see that the developers are adding more characters and bosses to the game, but I still think there should be more to do. Take Destiny for instance. I wouldn't mind if this game had weekly nightfalls set at an extremely high difficulty. You know, that would be pretty fun. Maybe they could even add actual raids. The First Descendant is still young, and who's to say if it won't get these activities eventually, but at the moment, it's a little bare bones, and half the player base has a strong bunny Descendant, and she can clear a room before you could ever even get to the room, and that ends up making the game much less fun. I would love harder activities that would sort of make people have to bunker down more, or create a build specifically for that activity. All in due time, of course. With all this being said, I do deem this game worthy of your time, especially if you have nothing else to do. If you've enjoyed this video, then leave a like. If this video has influenced you in any way, leave a comment and let me know what you guys think. Until then, see you guys next time.